What's going on, guys? FatefulEndingz here, and today we are back with another video. This time we are talking about the culmination of one of my probably favorite Impact arcs of the modern day. And I say modern day because nothing can touch old TNA Impact, but this is honestly really up there in my opinion. But also here with me, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Hunter Foreman, aka Flight 96.
The legend, that's a new one. I've never been, thank you for that. Thank you for your kind words. I'm glad to be here.
And I know what you guys are going to say. Why are you with Hunter again? Didn't you just do an interview with him? Yes, but he's a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. We're friends. Do the math. Anyway.
I mean, if there's math that you can do. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go. Get into it.
So, where do I even begin with this? So, me and Hunter both saw the culmination of the whole Allie, Rosemary, Kiera Hogan, Su Yung story. But before we even get to the part where we talk about that, because if we talk about that, it's going to be very disjointed as to how we got here. And hopefully, because even Hunter doesn't necessarily understand how we got here, he really does not follow Impact as much as he used to. So, a lot of things, because I'm assuming he's watching them out of context, out of order, he really doesn't understand how it makes sense. So hopefully I can do a good job of explaining this to him. So this whole storyline basically started back when Rosemary had basically disappeared. She had a match with Su Yung. Su Yung, destroyed her, honestly. She threw her into a coffin. Her undead brides took her away. That is all that we saw of Rosemary. IRL, Rosemary actually had a legitimate injury to her foot or her ankle, I believe. It was broken, so she had to take time off for that. And as with, broken legs, takes a while to heal if it's that bad of a break. So she's basically written off TV, and this is the first time that we see Allie basically embrace her demon-like attitude. Su Yung starts focusing on Allie. At this point, Allie is the women's champion. Su Yung starts focusing on her, and Allie ends up embracing her demon side and almost letting it control her. This is the first taste that Allie has of basically demonic power. She ends up losing to Su Yung in a buried alive match, or in a coffin match, sorry. So fast forward, Su Young's already lost the title. We get our first glimpse of Kiera Hogan being thrown into this. So Kiera Hogan is basically taken hostage by Su Yung in the demon realm. So Allie makes it a point to barter with Father James Mitchell. She knows that James Mitchell has the key to get in there, which old TNA fans will remember. Father James Mitchell, Abyss. Abyss was a demon, so naturally TNA trying to do some continuity here. James Mitchell would obviously know a way to get into that realm. He tells Allie, okay, you can go into there to get your friend, or attempt to get your friend back, but in exchange, you have to give me your soul. Of course, Allie doesn't understand it. Allie's going to be like all of us would be, oh, my soul? Okay, I don't know what that means exactly, but you have yourself a deal. That was mistake number one. So she goes in there. She's fighting off Su Yung. She gets Kiera Hogan back. You think she's going to lose. Enter Rosemary. You find out that when Rosemary was thrown into that coffin in the coffin match that wrote her off of TV, she was basically trapped in the demon realm with Su Yung. She shows up. They have a battle that I would basically describe as something out of Dragon Ball Z almost, where they're shooting energy at each other. At this point, Hunter is like, what the hell? And Rosemary is literally telling, Allie, Bunny, take your friend and go. Get out of here. I'll be fine. And, of course, Allie's like, no, I'm not going to leave you. And Rosemary's just like, no, go. I will be fine. So she goes. And again, they leave. Rosemary is still trapped in there. And at the end of this segment, this part of the arc, you kind of just see, Allie gaze into the camera, and she just looks like dead on the inside almost. So, you see this sort of metamorphosis in the next few weeks in Allie's matches. She's not being herself. She doesn't look herself. Her mind almost looks broken in a way. She's taking things too far in matches. Like, she's straddling people and just unloading punches on them, and they're not even fighting back. She's just destroying people with no remorse whatsoever. Kiera Hogan tries to get through to her. Jordynne Grace tries to get through to her, but nothing happens. And week after week, and soon, you find her defending Su Yung. You find her just seeing Su Yung as sort of like her keeper, the person who can truly control her. Allie dyes her hair and just starts wearing face paint, and she fully goes demonic, like she's just a soulless being. And that leads to Rosemary coming back. And Rosemary, she can't believe it. She's trying to get through to Allie, tell her, Bunny, this isn't who you are, come back to me, Bunny. This is not who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be good. I told you not to let the demon part of you take over, and you did. Which, when she was first written off of TV, and Allie, wanted to embrace her demon side, Rosemary communicated with her and said, that's fine, just do not let this take over you. And now, Common Day, she did what Rosemary told her not to. And Rosemary knew this would happen, almost. But again, Su Yung pulls her away with just like that grasp on her that she has. So it leads to what they call the Dark War, where it's, Jordynne Grace and Rosemary versus Allie and Su Yung. Good match, back and forth. Rosemary and Jordynne Grace win, which then allows Rosemary to regain control over Allie. But it's not the Allie that we all know. It's the soulless version, to the point of she has to keep Allie on a leash. So you see her in the weeks after this trying to remind Allie who she is, that she needs to come back. And then she remembers, this person has no soul. So last week, she goes to James Mitchell, and Rosemary, tells him, look, how do I get her soul back? I know you know who has it. I know you can either give it to me or I can take it from you. And James Mitchell tells her straight up, look, I have no control about that. I made the deal, but the person that has it is him. You can only get her soul back from him. And she's like, okay, well, next week I will go to the demon realm and I will get her soul back from him and I will bring the bunny back. So now we're on what happened yesterday. Rosemary takes Allie to the demon realm, but Kiera follows them in after Rosemary has told her specifically not to. They walk in, there's just this wrestling ring. Rosemary ties Allie up to a pole, and Rosemary is basically, I don't even know, committing how many acts of homicide, if you can even count killing demons as homicide. Because honestly, they should already be dead, right? So, she kills them. The undead brides get in. She gets thrown a sword by Kiera Hogan, who now reveals herself to be there. Swings it around, slashes them all, kills them. Then Su Yung comes in. At that point, she unhooks the collar of Allie, and Allie is basically fighting with her until she uses Allie as a distraction. Su Yung has a knife, is about to punch into Rosemary. No. Allie has a knife and is about to plunge into Rosemary, but can't do it. Rosemary is about to do a finishing blow to Su Yung. And then James Mitchell has Kiera Hogan. He's about to slash her neck, and out comes the person only known as him for the past week. Lo and behold, it's Old Ass, aka leader of the Dungeon of Doom, the most useless faction in WCW that was literally only put together to make Hogan look good. So, he basically tells Rosemary, you know he has true power, and his power compared to Rosemary's is much, much greater. Things of that nature. And honestly, my one criticism of that, he literally sounds like he's reading from a script. Like, he doesn't even sound natural. He just sounds like he's trying to remember everything. Which, he's Kevin Sullivan. He hasn't probably done anything wrestling related since long ago. So, at that point, Su Yung has a Freddy Krueger-esque glove and jabs it in Allie's neck, which shocks everybody. James Mitchell looks shocked. Kiera's shocked. Rosemary, for the tough demon and remorseless demon that she is, literally starts crying. And Allie's neck is basically slashed. She regains her soul and kind of goes back to who she was, but only because she was killed. So her soul is finally, I guess you could say, at rest. And she disappears, and that's how the segment ends. Lo and behold, the segment ended sadly and killed her off because her contract is up and she's going to AEW. And that is your rundown of this entire storyline from the very beginning until what happened yesterday on Friday.
Okay, now that we have sat through that, and, and basically got all the information we need, I'm going to tell you right now, this storyline is absolutely trash. Why? And I'll tell you why. Because why do you insist on making, like, you are introducing supernaturality into wrestling? Yes, I know we all know wrestling is predetermined, all this, and blah, 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 but like, we're talking about having Dragon Ball Z fights, and we're talking about demons and souls and killing. And, like, this doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. When I watch a wrestling show, I want to watch wrestling. Like, I want to watch some competition. Yes, I also want a good storyline. But this is just taking it a little bit too far. I don't agree with what Impact did. I understand that they wanted to kind of have a women's version of the stuff that they did with the Hardys, you know, when they were in TNA.
True.
That's fine. I get it. But if we're talking, like, stealing souls and talking about, like, death and stuff, like, come on. Like, come on, TNA. You could have at least made this a Kane Mankind kind of thing where it's just two dark people, but they're still doing crazy matches like Undertaker and Mankind, you know, buried alive, casket match, no DQ match. You can make this about that, you know. Or if you want to just have, you know, you could have taken a different route where you could have had Su Yung kidnap Allie, and Allie, you know, costs Rosemary a match with Su Yung. You know, and Su Yung ends up winning, and then we figure out that Allie is under some type of trance, you know, and we still keep it in the ring, and then, you know, in the end, Allie comes to her senses and then turns on Su Yung, and then we have the big blow-off match between Allie and Su Yung, and Allie wins, and then we move on to wherever. That's how this should have happened. Not having Dragon Ball fights and Kevin Sullivan and James Mitchell and Kiera Hogan and all these other extra people that just didn't need to be in it. It was about three people: Allie, Rosemary, and Su Yung. But they decided to make it about everything, and supernaturality and demons and bunnies and I don't. No, I'm not a fan of this at all. I'm just not a fan.
I mean, the one thing that I can say to you, because I was a fan of this, I liked it, because you can kind of, if you think about it, this does what a lot of storylines don't do, and it, honestly, it spanned multiple months. It took multiple months for it to finally get to this point. And I feel like, you know, wrestling needs, you know, as weird as the storyline was, wrestling needs more storylines like this. But I will agree with you, we didn't need Kiera Hogan. We didn't need Kevin Sullivan. James Mitchell maybe, because James Mitchell is like the Paul Heyman of Impact, but we didn't need Kevin Sullivan, who probably
Paul Heyman of Impact, but go ahead.
Like, we didn't need Kevin Sullivan, who probably hadn't done anything wrestling related since this moment. And you could tell.
He was in ROH. He was in ROH for a storyline, but that fell through and nothing ever happened or anything turned of it. So,
I mean, and it would have been, like I said when I was recapping the story to the best of my ability, because I know it probably sounded like I was rambling, but the thing that really kind of made me not like the segment as much as I would have if he wasn't in there was he sounded stiff. And if you're, you know, an actor or anything, like any actor would tell you, you can read lines, but you have to actually act out the lines. You have to talk like you're talking, not like you're reading off something. And he talked like he was just reading straight off of a page. Like, it just sounded so stiff and so like he wasn't sure of what he was saying. But nonetheless, I liked the whole, you know, storyline in of itself. I think the ending really culminated it well. I would have liked to have seen what the original ending would have been if Allie didn't sign with AEW. I would have liked to have seen what they had planned before that.
It would have just gone on, and it would have just been it wouldn't have made even more sense. They would have probably had her, like, they probably have her Allie be like the Grandmaster in the plan and destroy Su Yung and make the Demon Bunny like the main thing. And it would just, I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't want to be a part of it. It just gives me a headache. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not all with it.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, though, I mean, if you look at it as a whole, I mean, we can analyze the issues with it, but if you look at it as a whole, it's a really good arc, in my opinion. It did a lot for Rosemary. It kind of established Rosemary as, like, the person who is willing to do anything and everything for those that she cares about. And it kind of establishes her as, yeah, she's the demon assassin, but she can actually be protective and protect those people, and kind of, in my opinion, built her as what I'm assuming what they're trying to do is just build her as that person to mold the Knockouts division around. That like super face almost. How that's gonna work? Like, how is that gonna work though if Jordynne Grace ends up winning the Knockout Championship? Like, how would that work? Like, are they gonna turn Grace heel? Is it just gonna be a battle of faces? Like how would that be?
It shouldn't have happened in the first place. They should have just kept it in the ring. That's really all I got to say about that. Like, they should have just kept this storyline in the ring and make sure that it was like, I don't know. I frankly, I didn't care about it in the first place. So, until I watched the clip today of Allie dying, which I was like, really? Like, is this what we're gonna do? Like, we're kayfabe killing people now? Really?
I mean, if you want to say it that way, do you not remember when RVD and Abyss had a thing, and Abyss used Janice, laid out RVD, laid out RVD, and left him to die in a puddle of his blood? Or, how about when Mickey signed with WWE, so James Storm pushed her into an oncoming train?
Pushed her into an oncoming... I don't think that was an oncoming train, though.
No, it was literally... When they showed the surveillance footage of it, when James Storm was talking about it, they were walking on, like, the actual... I don't know what it's called, like the trainway, the way in between like the tracks or whatever that you would use to get onto the trains. The train comes, and all you see is James Storm push her, and then you just see the train. And it was said that he pushed her in front of it. And that was the last time that you saw Mickey and Impact.
I give up on you, man. Impact, I give up on you, man. Like,
so, I mean, you can't say we're kayfabe killing people now like it's something new when Impact's been doing that for a while.
I don't... Okay, whatever. You do what you want, Impact. Alright, do what you want. You have fun. Do what you want. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
I mean, you have to at least give it some credit. It was at least a decent storyline that actually helped to build all who was involved. Even Allie, it kind of made her go out sort of on a good note. It didn't make her look weak. It kind of made her, if anything, look more badass due to the whole demon corruption crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it built up Rosemary more. It made Kiera Hogan... Like, it built her up a little bit, because, I mean, before this, Kiera Hogan wasn't really doing anything, so it gave her something to do. So I will say it did help all who was involved with this.
Yeah, I could say, yeah, you can. Everybody got something out of it, so...
And then, at the same time, I mean, that's the one thing that I can really say about Impact. As much, crap that I give it, as much crap that Hunter gives it, I feel like we can both agree that Impact knows how in their storylines to make all that are involved look good at certain points.
Yes and no, because there's been some times where Impact has made people look absolutely terrible.
True.
Like, I'm sorry, like, I love Magnus, aka Nick Aldis, our current NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Woo!
But they made him look like a... Sorry, I hate using this word, but they made him look like a chicken shit. Like, they made him look like the most protected champion of all time. I hated the way that they booked EC3 up until he won the world title.
Trouble.
I hated the way that they booked I hated the way they booked AJ on his way out.
True.
I take that back.
I mean, I hated the way they booked AJ on the way out, to be honest with you.
No, I hated the way they booked AJ's final match. Yes, that's the best way.
Wasn't that against Nick Aldis?
Yes, that was against,
Or Magnus?
And what's funny is that the belt they gave, like, okay, so the storyline was that AJ left the company with the World Heavyweight Championship, and they decided to bring back a new World Heavyweight Championship, basically, because AJ left with a World Heavyweight Championship, so they just gave a replica to somebody who won a tournament. Magnus ended up winning in that tournament, and he became like just a heel that would have to rely on interference to win, like every match, whether it be cheating, any of that. Like I didn't see Magnus win the World Championship cleanly, ever. Like he never retained his championship cleanly, like ever. And I think that's a great way to establish a heel, is that if you want a heel world champion, you have to have him win clean. You just have to establish him as a serious world champion, and they never did that. And that one time that he has a straight up one-on-one match, no interference, was when he lost the title to Eric Young. And I think that made him look terrible. Like, that made Eric Young look like a superstar, but that made him look like just like a waste of a world champion. And I'm mad because I'm a huge Nick Aldis fan. I think he's a great in-ring competitor. I think he's very smooth in the ring. I like his how the way he flows into his moves. I've never seen him botch. Rarely, I never see him. Like he always looks very smooth and executes his moves very well in the ring. But it's like why are you booking him like this? Because like you had the Dixie Carter thing where he had all these people like help him, and then when Dixie Carter is ousted by MVP, what happens? Abyss comes back and it helps Magnus, and then when Abyss leaves, he loses the championship. Like, what does that prove? Bobby Roode beat AJ Styles clean, right? Beat AJ Styles clean. Beat James Storm clean. Beat Mr. Kennedy clean. He has clean victory. Bobby Roode was the best heel champion in TNA because he was booked. Yes, he won sometimes, most of the time excuse me. Oh man, I apologize. With dirty tactics, but there he has his clean win.
True.
Nick Aldis never had a clean win, so sometimes they make, and then when he lost the belt to Austin Aries, like he was still a main eventer. Like he still was a main eventer. He still was, I think that same year, I want to say, he went on to have a match with James Storm that same year. had a match with James Storm at Bound for Glory, which was match of the night. You know, that hardcore war that him and James Storm were, where they had tacks and they were bleeding everywhere, and like it was just one of those just great just fights.
Yeah.
And they successfully gave Bobby Roode a great way to end his world title reign off of. I just don't think that TNA sometimes it's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss with TNA. It's a very hit and miss with TNA.
It really is though.
With Drew Galloway won their world title when he cashed in his little briefcase or whatever and won the world title from Matt Hardy. I was like, oh my God, Drew's about to have that face run. You know that AJ Styles face run where he's like, he takes on all challengers, and it doesn't matter who it is. Like he just goes on that face run and proves that he's a champion, and then he loses the belt back to Lashley, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. What are we doing? I don't get it. Matt Hardy winning the world title from EC3 in the Last Man Standing match. I thought that was a great idea. And then having him beat his brother and EC3 multiple times, and like I didn't get it. I didn't get it. Sometimes, but I'm just proving my point that I highly disagree that TNA does not know how to make sure that every superstar benefits. Sometimes they make it happen, sometimes they don't.
I mean, recently I think they've done better with it, but I do agree with you. It's kind of, in the past they've kind of struggled with it, but I think recently I think they've started to really focus on quality over quantity, so I think they've started to focus on their stories more and less of, having, X amount of stories going on, and more so on, focusing on, 2 or 3 stories, which I think really with the size that they're at, they can't pull a WWE and focus on, 6 stories on Raw, 6 stories on SmackDown. TNA's one show. They can't focus on 12 stories. So I think it's like they're trying to juggle between like 2 or 3 main story arcs at once. And I think it's kind of working for them now.
Absolutely.
But,
I agree.
So, final thoughts on the whole Demon Alley, Su Yung, Rosemary storyline.
I just don't agree with it, and I don't think that stuff it just never interested me. I never was really for it, I never liked how it was booked. I just was never interested in it. I'm sorry. That's just me.
I mean, and for me, I liked it, but I think the ending could have been done a little bit better. I think there's more people that they could have used to be the whole person in charge. Like, there's more scary wrestlers. I mean, look in AAA, look at, just... There's more demonic figures in wrestling that they could have used, or, have it be a plot twist and have it, James Mitchell was the one in charge and he's been fooling people into believing he isn't, and, shit, they could have done shit like that. I feel like either having a twist ending or finding somebody else demonic that did not look like he just rolled out of bed this morning at the retirement home.
It's true.
Like, I don't want to trash Kevin Sullivan. I know the dude is trying hard. I know he still loves wrestling, as bad of a wrestler, in my opinion, that he was. But He looked so uncomfortable there, in my opinion. Like, he looked like he was having trouble remembering his lines, and then that made him look stiff, and then he just looked like he wasn't having fun with it like he used to.
True. Very true. I'll agree with you on that. Like, so, I don't know. I guess, like I said, I'll say it again. I just don't agree with this particular storyline. I just don't like this particular storyline, and TNA should kind of stray away from doing things like this. I mean, you can do it every once in a while, but again, TNA's hit and miss, and to me, this was a miss.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard our opinions. Sound off below, or subscribe for more, or do both. If you want more videos like this, this is the next edition in the Pros and Cons series, TNA Part 2, basically. More so focusing on that one storyline, but TNA Part 2 nonetheless. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching this video. My name is FatefulEndingz. He is Flight 96, Hunter Foreman. And I will talk to you in the next video.